Okay, I have a list of 10 ways to intentionally be beautiful. I'm not talking about your outsides, I'm talking about your insides at this point. So, number one, be humble, have humility, which means don't have an inflated sense of self. Don't think that you're above everybody and then other people is below you. Know when to be quiet, know when to speak, know when to use your poker face, know when to speak up for yourself. Just be a humble person who understands that everyone has a path, everyone has a journey. No one is above or below the next person. And we're here together. We're here together. Don't think that you're better than people because of your looks. Don't think that you're better than people because of your body or your body shape or your hair or your face or your money or your titles or your possessions. Those things don't make you better than anybody. It just means that you're the type of person to get things done, that you accomplish those things, or that you was blessed with beauty, blessed with wonderful looks. But it doesn't mean that you're better than anybody. So just keep that in perspective if you want to intentionally be beautiful, and we're talking about internal beauty. Number two, be compassionate. Be compassionate towards others. Understand that everybody don't have it the way you have it. Sometimes your situation was easy, and someone else could be in that same situation and it was hard. It's not for you to judge them on their journey, judge them on why they did it that way or why they didn't do it the other way or why they should have did it how you did it. Like, who are you? Who are you to judge someone's path and judge someone's journey when you've had your own? You're currently on your journey right now, and there's someone who could be further along on their journey than you, and then now they looking at you like, well, why you didn't do it like this? How you gonna feel? You're not gonna like it. So be compassionate towards others. It's okay. It's perfectly fine. Number three, be respectful and respectable. Two different things. Sometimes I hear people use those words interchangeably, and they're not. To be respectful, it means that you're giving respect. You're giving respect to other people. You're respecting other people's space. You're respecting their values and you're respecting their existence. To be respectable, it means you're giving people something to respect in you, right? So if you're twerking on the table at someone's restaurant, that's not respectable. People are not going to look at that. Sound-minded people are not going to look at that and say, oh, that's a respectable person. If you got your pants hanging down, sagging down, and your underwear showing or your butt crack is showing, people are not going to look at that and say, oh, that is very respectable. I would like to, collaborate with that person and accomplish some things. I would like to hire that person. People are not going to look at you and say that when you twerking on the table and you got your pants sagging and your underwear showing. It's not respectable. Number four, be selfless and or giving. Giving can be considered monetary. It could be considered possessions, but it also can be considered time, attention, energy, just a listening ear. That can be considered giving, being selfless, understanding that it's not all about you. Other people have things that they're going through, and sometimes they need somebody. Sometimes people need somebody to give them their ear or to give them their shoulder to cry on or something, along those lines. And so, if we're talking being internally beautiful and intentionally beautiful, if you're that person that is giving someone your time who just simply needs that, you to go. You to go in their eyes because they needed somebody, and you the person who showed up for them at their time of need. Number five, show love with your words and your actions. That's part of being selfless, in my opinion, because again, if someone needs you, then you show up with them. You show up for them. So showing love with your words and your actions is, choosing kind words, especially when someone is going through a hard time. Instead of judging them, help them, right? Instead of bad mouthing them and sipping the tea about their private business, help them, encourage them, uplift them. Be kind with your words and your actions, right? So if we're talking being internally beautiful, being kind with your words and your actions is one wonderful way to be internally and intentionally beautiful. If you are not that at all, if you are not showing love with your words and your actions at all, and it's something that you want to do, something that you want to become, click the link in my bio and book a session with me so that way we can talk more about that. But it's not something that's going to change overnight. If you're looking to change and grow into someone who is being kind with their words and their actions, you got to give yourself grace, because you have to get to a point where you're able to catch yourself doing the thing that you're trying not to do anymore. And you got to be able to catch yourself in the moment. At one point, you'll catch yourself after the fact. You're going to think about it and be like, oh, you know what? I could have did this. And then as you get better, as you begin to do it more, now you're catching yourself in the moment as you're doing it and you're turning it around. Then as you get better and better, now it's only in your head, these unkind actions and words, and you realize before it even comes out of you, oh nah, that's not what I want to do. So then you don't do it. Then once you really get better at it, those things don't even come to mind. It's only the kind words and actions that come to mind, unless somebody's trying to play you. And that's a whole different conversation. If somebody's trying to play you, that's a whole different conversation. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when somebody needs you, or when somebody is going through something and you're choosing to be kind with your words and your actions, right? Number 6, having self-awareness and being accountable, right? Self-awareness, that goes back to what I was just saying about being kind with your words and your actions. The self-awareness is when you're saying the thing that you shouldn't be saying and you realize that you shouldn't be saying it. That's the self-awareness part right there. That's it. And then the accountability part is when you do say the thing or do the thing and you get called out for it, instead of you being offended and cursing people out or, giving them the cold shoulder, you say, you know what, you're right. Yeah, I did it. I apologize. I'm working on it. I'm going to try to do better next time. I didn't mean to, that's where the accountability part comes in. Number 7, forgiving. To be internally and intentionally beautiful, you do have to learn how to forgive. And it's something that I worked on for a long time. I had to work on my forgiveness for a long time. And I had to realize that forgiveness is for giving. It's for you to continue to be able to give love, compassion, understanding. It's for you to continue to give the good things of yourself. Because when you don't forgive, now you're so mad, you're not giving good things of yourself to people. You're untrustworthy of people. You're even untrustworthy of yourself. You are pessimistic. You think that everybody is out to get you. You make everybody guilty for things. And when you lack forgiveness, that really can lead down the path to destruction, like for real. I've been there. So if you want to be internally and intentionally beautiful, learn how to forgive. It's for you to continue to give. For you to give. And free up that space in your heart. Because when you're lacking forgiveness, it's probably some anger or some hurt or some resentment or something like that. And so you actually can feel that emotion inside of you when that situation or that person comes up. That thing that you haven't forgiven, when that thing comes up, you probably feel some type of emotional reaction inside of your body. And so that is the thing right there that needs to be freed up in order for you to continue to give. Number 8, have grace for yourself and others. Absolutely. To be intentionally and internally beautiful, you have to give yourself grace. You have to give other people grace. Expect that people are going to make mistakes, including yourself. And when they do, and when you do, Okay. Things happen. It's okay. I don't think you meant to. I know you didn't mean to do it. I'm not telling you to be a doormat. I'm not telling you to not have a backbone. I'm not telling you to let people run over top of you. That's not this discussion. That's another discussion. In this discussion, we're talking about when someone didn't mean to do it. Are you just going to go off on them when you know that they didn't mean to do it, or are you going to give them grace? When you didn't mean to do it, are you just going to beat yourself up all day and all night and for the rest of your life? Or are you going to give yourself grace? Well, what does giving yourself grace look like? Giving yourself grace and giving other people grace can look like just simply saying, it's okay. No worries. Things happen. I forgive you. You know? And sometimes the thing that happened, you might actually, it may have hurt you. It might have made you upset. But if you want to be intentionally and internally beautiful, extending grace to people is actually part of that. You can't just go around and just make everybody wrong for everything that they've done, including yourself. You got to understand that people will make mistakes. People will disappoint you. And at some point, you got to let it go for you. Yeah, for them, but for you. Really, ultimately, it's all for you. Number 9. Non-competitive spirit. Having a non-competitive spirit unless you're directly involved in a competition, okay? If you're in a competition and you're trying to win this race, okay, please be competitive and win. Because I'm gonna tell you, when it's me, when I'm at game night, listen, I'm going for blood. I came to win, okay? But outside of those types of environments, games and sports and, anything where you have to be competitive, you don't have to just have a competitive spirit at all times. Especially, it's like women just want to compete with each other to the point that, like, they just think, I gotta be the most beautiful. I gotta be the most this. I gotta be the most that. Why is it that you gotta do that in comparison of other people rather than in comparison of who you were yesterday or who you were last week or last year? Right? So it's nothing wrong with having a competitive spirit. I just think it's a time and a place for everything. And then I also think, what is the root of who and why, who you want to be competitive against and why you want to be competitive against that person, and who is the person? Is it competitive against other women, other people, or is it competitive against who you were yesterday, who you were last week or last year? Because for me in my house, I'm competitive against who I was last week, who I was yesterday, who I was last year. And I want to be better than that girl. I want to be better than that woman. I don't need to look at other women and say, oh, I need to be better than her. I need to have this better than her or do that better than her, because everybody shows up different anyway. The way you do it might not be the way that I do it. I make my macaroni and cheese this way. You make your macaroni and cheese that way. And both of them can still be delicious. We can enjoy them all. Okay? So know when to be competitive if you want to be internally and intentionally beautiful. You don't have to bring the spirit of competition into every situation. Let it be appropriate. And then number 10, tapping into your godliness. Tapping into the God part of you. And what does that mean? That means having some sort of spiritual path, some sort of spiritual journey that you're on, some sort of spiritual practice, a religion, something that you engage in at least once a week or every day. I say every day. It needs to be a prayer, a meditation, something. But at least once a week or at least every day, something along those lines. It needs to be some type of consistent thing that you do. You need to have a God that you pray to. You need to have a path that you follow, something that guides you, something that leads you, because otherwise you'll just be out here like a leaf in the wind, just flying and flowing with everybody that you are near and everybody that you're next to, and everybody don't deserve that from you, and you don't deserve that. You don't deserve what everybody is bringing. Tapping into your godliness can also mean having discernment of who gets to benefit from experiencing your energy, who gets to share your space, who gets to share your body. that's tapping into your godliness. And really, all of these things are tapping into your godliness, because when you know that you should not be competing with other women, but yeah, you should be competing with who you were yesterday, that's tapping into your godliness. When you're giving grace to yourself and others, that's tapping into your godliness. When you're forgiving people, that's tapping into your godliness. When you're having awareness, self-awareness, and accountability for what you've done, that's tapping into your godliness. When you're showing love via your words and your actions, that's tapping into your godliness. When you are selfless and you are giving your time and your energy and your love and your wisdom to other people, that's tapping into your godliness. When you are respectful and respectable, that's tapping into your godliness. When you are compassionate, that's tapping into your godliness. And when you are humble, it's tapping into your godliness.